Hey guys, it's Dave. I'm sorry I'm a little late on this one today. I had some stuff going on over the weekend. I couldn't quite get to this, but I'll go over some of the things we did in this past week in the class. I'm just going to start a project here. Remember, I usually like start it with a color background. And this time I'll make it an 8 by 12 and do it landscape so it fills the screen pretty nicely. So there we got the starting spot. Now, you remember, you all have seen how you add pictures and text box and color panels to a layout. If you want to review that, go back and look at the first video that we did. But for this one, I'm going to point out to you that as we mentioned in class, you can bring in a lot of pictures all at once, up to 10. So if you click on pictures, and I'll go down here in my favorite folder that I always use, and you guys are probably getting tired of seeing, but they're Sarah's pictures. So I'll pick, let's say, from here to here. So that's 6 pictures. Now what it's going to do is going to bring them in, and it'll line them up as little smaller pictures, like it's almost like thumbnails up at the top of the screen. So observe. Here's what's going to happen. So she's going to come in here with, these are pretty big pictures to start with. So it takes a little while for Scrap Page to decipher them and import them and scale them down and whatever it has to do. But there they are. There's the 6 pictures. Now, just like anything else, you can select them. You can move them around. You can grow them. You can rotate them. You remember how to do all that stuff. You can put if you want to, you can go over here on the frame side things, and you can put a frame on it. And if you want to color the frame, you can do that. And if you want to even go, and once you select it again, if you even want to go in here and apply a texture to it, you can do that. So let's put that texture on it, and you'll see that now it's got a bit of a texture. All right. So that's one of the things we did, is just show how you can bring this in. You may recall too, if you have a picture that's got a frame on it, and you want that frame to carry on throughout all of throughout the rest of the images, you can just go on here. You can select the one with the frame, go to another one, and say match to that. And when you tell it to match, it'll put that frame on there, and I can keep going down the line and putting frames on these things, and they'll all be the same size and same pattern. Okay, so that was one of the things we did. Now, let's remember that texturing is kind of a big deal when you're doing a layout, because it gives your layout some style. You might remember, let me get rid of a few of these pictures here, or I'll just hide some of them. Let me hide, I'll just hide this one, that one, and that one. So I'll just keep this one alive, and I'm going to take the frame off of it, so it's back down to no frame. Now the next thing we did was some masking. You might recall, you can, anytime you want, you can crop, and as I said, there's the random crop. There's the idea of cropping it but keeping the same aspect that the object already has, or you could keep the object or the ratio of the previous object, which is kind of nice, because that makes them, you'll have 2 pictures that have exact same ratio. You can make them the same size and all that. Or you can match it to the background if you want to do that, or you can make it square. You can make it 16 by 9 horizontal, which is compatible with a television, or you can do an oval random crop, or you can do an oval that'll fit to the previous object. You know, there's all sorts of, and then there's these standard aspects, and they are sort of things like for a 4 by 6 print. If you want it in portrait or landscape, same way with a 5 by 7, same way with an 8 by 10 or an 8 by 11, or something called the golden portrait, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, once you have a picture that you want to do a crop on, the other option is to do a right click on your mouse, which brings up automatically brings up a random crop that you can do. So that would pop it up, and if you just hold it crop, you just did it. If you don't want to do that, you can cancel it. Now the other thing beyond that we talked about was masking. So if we go in here to mask, you see down here at the bottom there's 4 little icons. This one is a oval, and that would mean that I could now put an oval mask on her if I wanted to. the white area shows of the mask shows what will be saved. Anything else will go away. So if I apply that, you'll see when it comes out that she's now got an oval mask over top of that original image there. So I'm going to call the original back so I don't have to. I want to be able to show you other things with it. Here also in the cutout is a square. Why would you want to do a square that you could do the same thing with just a crop? Well, the big difference is that you can soften the edges. So if I move this thing out here and I tell it to set that property, now the edges will be softened. So if I apply that now, you'll see how now we get a nice soft image that would blend into a background. Let me give the background a little texture and you'll see this a little better. Let's go in here and we'll say, hey, background. I'm going to change the background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a, we'll just pick another standard texture. We'll pick the same one we did for that border before. So anyway, you can see how she blends in now nice and softly. So I'm going to recall the original again and do it a different way. And again, we'll go back up here under Edit and crop or cut out and mask. This time, instead of doing a square, I'm going to go to this little blob kind of looking icon. That brings up a whole bunch of different masks that you can play with. And the mask, if it shows a black area, that's what's going to be saved. If it shows a white area, that's what's going to be saved. Just the black area out there. The white will be cut out. So let's take, for instance, this one here. This one here would be the good mask because we would then use it to mask her. And you can see how if I put this on her now, like so, and I apply, so now I get this kind of a mask from her. Okay, pretty nice little looking thing. And after that, what I did was I added a few other elements, one of which is going to be a color panel. And we'll stick the color panel so it's about something like this maybe, and move it down to the back, to the bottom of the stack. But I don't want it to be black. I mean, she's sitting on top of it now. But I don't want it to be black. I'm going to give it a color, and once it's selected up here in this little color wheel, I can go down here and say, okay, how about I give it something in the kind of tannish area here. And the texture that I picked in the class, even though you couldn't see it very well because the TV was going crazy, was this pastel ridged. So I'll put this pastel ridged on it. And now you can see that it's laying over top of the background. Just give it a little definition. Let's give it a shadow. You remember how to do that up here. I can move my slider and give it a shadow and say, okay, now will that pop it off of the screen? And it does. Okay, so it looks like it has a dimension to it. I think it'd be better if I change the background again. I'm going to go in and change the background and use a darker color. So let's, and I'll stick with the same texture. So when it comes up now, it'll look like that. So then beyond that, I went to pictures again, and I added a bunch of flowers. You might remember that we did this in the design elements thing. I just chose some flowers. So down here someplace we're going to find some flowers to pick on. Let's try that one, and we'll try, I don't know what I used. I don't remember now, but I'm pretty sure I used this one and this one. I'm going to just select some of these. If you hold down the control key, you can just go ahead and pop some of these on. I might use this one. I don't know. I don't remember now. But let's just put them in for now. All right, so there comes the 4 flowers. And I think I'll rotate this one around, something like this. Set it here. Move this guy down here. This one over here. And this one over here. I don't recall exactly what we did in class, but let's just say that's kind of close. I don't want to move this background or this panel anymore, so I'm going to lock it in place. Actually, I don't want to move anything anymore. I could lock everything in place if I wanted to. But now I'm just going to add a text box. And in the text box here, I'm going to say Sarah. And I think what I'm going to do is pick a font that I'd like, something like, I got a few fonts that I've added now. I'll pick this one here, and we'll auto size it up. Actually, I think I'm just going to keep making it a little larger than it is. Let's take it up to whatever is the max size it can go to. And I think then what I'm going to do is move it over here. I'll color it. Okay, just 1 second. Sorry, I had a break in the action there. Sharon called me for something. Anyway, we took this thing here where I put her name on it. Now keep in mind, any object in Action Scrap can be rotated. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise and set it right here. Now, there is a limit on how big you can make a text, and the size limit is 180. It's a idiosyncrasy of the compiler that I use to write this program. But here's the good news: you can take that image, which is as big as 180, which is as big as it can be, and you can say, make an image out of it. Now, once you make an image, you can't edit it anymore, so you have to be certain that what you have is what you want. That is the right font and the right spelling and anything else. But if I make an image out of this, it tells me this is not reversible. So I did, but now the good news is I can make it bigger. And I can actually skew it if I want. So if I really wanted to skew it, you could do that. But notice that I can make the text a lot bigger. So now it says I've got Sarah out here like this. And she's much bigger than what I could have done by simply making a text box. So anyway, that was the way we put this thing together. You know, did a mask on the picture, added a bunch of design elements here, these flowers, stood it off the page with a panel, and then put her name in. So I hope that kind of covers the things, that most of the major things that we did in class last week. And if you get a chance, like I say, I'm sorry that this is late, but if you get a chance, take a look at this and kind of get familiarized with these concepts, because we'll move on from there. Okay? So I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.